community, because everybody in this room, I assume, is going to ripple out and affect a lot more people that are even in this room today. So special thanks to Bruce and Dan and all of you at Javelin USA. It's an honor to be here today. My name is Pam Hayes. I am the founder of the Armed Forces. You might have heard of the Armed Forces, all those military. They're the ones that carry guns. The Armed Forces, we're the ones that hug people. So be prepared, I'm a hugger. And what I mean by that with hugging is we walk the path with our veterans and their families. We walk the path with them. We don't walk behind them and idolize them. We don't walk in front of them and tell them what to do and guide them as if they're children. We walk beside them on the path. Now, how in the heck does a civilian woman from Maumee, Ohio ever get to work with our veterans and to stand up here in front of you? Well, I can tell you, someone mentioned theater. I think it was Josh who mentioned the word theater earlier. The very first meeting I attended in August 2009, when I had no clue what I was doing, but I am a Christian woman and I was led to do this work. And I was sitting at a conference in West Virginia, and of course, where I was seated were two generals to my right and two people, colonels in the military up in front of me. I was scared to death. You know, I'm like, I'm going to say something stupid. I just know it, because Pam can do that sometimes. So I'm sitting there, and they kept talking about this word theater, and I literally said in my head, oh, I bet we're going to get popcorn. Loving popcorn as I do. That is how little I knew about the military. Theater is a war zone. It has nothing to do with popcorn. But that shows you that if someone that knew that little can 5 years later stand up here and tell you about the successes and achievements that the Armed Forces organization has, that should inspire you as employers and as citizens of the United States to go back and do something for our veterans. And if you're in a position to hire them, that's the civil duty that you can have. Anyone can do it. I'm a girly girl who knew nothing. And on top of that, what qualifies me to stand up here in front of you today? I used to work at ZEF. Deanna was not there. I was the vocational rehabilitation manager at ZEF before I was injured. I didn't even know if I was qualified for that job when they hired me. But I was there, and we broke records, and I had a wonderful experience there and learned a lot. Something I learned that stayed with me for a long time was how much a job means to the mental health of every single human being. It doesn't matter if you're a mom or a dad or a single person, young or old, having something to do outside of yourself where you know you're giving back, that you matter, that someone's counting on you to show up, that someone's showing their gratitude to you and thanking you, and if you happen to get a paycheck, that's pretty good too. A job does matter. So you can imagine, then I was a voc rehab counselor. You'd think that if when I went to get voc rehab after my accident, which I broke my skull in 2 places, broke my neck in 2 places, and my back in 9 places. So I truly am a walking miracle, and the fact that I have those heels on, trust me, they won't be on long, but they are my badge of honor, and I won't give them up. So quite the miracle. But when I was laying on the side of the road in West Virginia being life flighted, that's my PTSD. I have a little PTSD too, I guess if you want to say a little PTSD. There's certain things that trigger deep emotion in me. I never dreamed that I would ever be working for the military. The bond of a traumatic brain injury survivor with another traumatic brain injury survivor is amazing. Amazing. It is what connects me to our veterans. It is what connects our veterans to each other. So in 10 minutes, 15, whatever I'm allowed up here before, Dan said he was going to tackle me if I talk too long. So I don't think I want to be tackled by Dan, so I'm not going to talk too long. But I know that when I'm given a short time to speak, that I can't tell you everything there is to know about traumatic brain injury. You could have the top neurologist for the University of Michigan stand up here, or the Defense and Veteran Brain Injury Center, and they would not be able to tell you everything about brain injury. Number one is because it's unique to every one of us, because we all have a different brain. But what I hope to do is to inspire you to learn more. What I hope to do is to let you see firsthand that having a severe traumatic brain injury does not mean that we are not people who can give back. We are not people who are sitting and doing nothing at home, and someone has, not all of us need to be fed, not all of us need to learn all of our skills again. I couldn't read, I still have a very difficult time reading. I can't read books very well, but I can read on the internet, which is how I taught myself to read, because I could not find vocational rehabilitation people in our community who truly understood what it meant to have a brain injury. Actually, I left them, my voc rehab counselor, because they caused me so much stress in 2007 that I went back to my former employer and said, can you help me? And they said, oh, 2007, 2 years before I started this organization, you're just like those veterans we get in here. And I didn't even know what they were talking about. I'm like, they're like, would you come in and train us on brain injury? And I thought, wait a minute, I'm the one coming to you for help. But it made me realize how little they knew. So scared to death, I went in and I trained voc rehab counselors and doctors and all these other counselors, mental health counselors, on brain injury. And then 2 years later, I really felt the call to be able to work with veterans. And I understood deeply that we are not understood. When I learned to read, it was because I spent 16 to 18 hours a day on a computer, because I couldn't read a book. I started at the back of the book and went to the front. But I started on a computer and I read about brain injury, because it was the only thing I cared to read about. The only thing. But it led me to where I am today. If I say I, it means veteran, because they're like me. I'm like them. Just because I didn't go into a war zone and carry a gun and fight, they're not. The only war zone they're in now is the war zone of trying to find a job and trying to live a life and trying to be understood for who they are today. Same fight I'm in. That's the commonality of it. Understanding became so important to me, as it is to our veterans, to survival as the blood running through our veins. So I am imploring you, please, be the one in your company, be the one in your group or organization, be the one in your church, be the one in your circle of influence, whatever that circle of influence may be. Be the one to learn more about traumatic brain injury. We are not all headlines. We are not all in wheelchairs, unable to eat. But that does not mean that we all don't have challenges, and it does not mean that the core of our being, our brain, has been forever altered. I will always grieve, Pam. And if I told you the entire story, I would cry. Because I cried for that woman I was. Because sometimes it's hard to believe that was me. I grieve for her to this day. Because I changed so much. But I also know that the battle of traumatic brain injury will never go away. And I know some people are scared to have me speak because they think, oh gosh, she's going to talk about brain injury, and everybody's going to be like, well, not the brain injury lady, because, you know, it's a scary subject. Employers don't want to hear about the brain injury. I'm here to give you the hope. When you face death and you are alive, man, you got a lot to offer this world. Don't count us out. Don't count us traumatic brain injury survivors out. And that includes the growing number that have diagnosis of traumatic brain injury from the military. And because of the work we do at our organization, the Armed Forces, the number that are not diagnosed, that are falling through the cracks, that we can help you with. So call on us. Let us help you. Let us help walk the path with you. Let us come in and do more than 15 minutes of training. I've trained at the Department of Defense a few times, so I think I qualify. Have us come in and let you learn more about what can you do for traumatic brain injury, for post-traumatic stress, what's called the invisible wounds, because they are real. It's not as simple as this, okay? Y'all can't just put a button up on your, and I said y'all, who says y'all? I think whoever says y'all, I was telling them I say y'all all the time. So you can't put this up and just press a button and then everybody with a traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress is going to be able to enter your doors and live happily ever after. It's not that simple. But I'm telling you, it's not that difficult, and the benefits to you and your organization, to your bottom line, to have somebody with a human spirit that wants to give and love and take care of your company, it'll come back to you. So thank you for this time, and I know we're going to have a general question and answer, so anything you want to ask me, I love questions. Thank you.